France, 1789. One of the richest countries in Europe is collapsing. The king lives in a palace so extravagant it becomes a symbol of everything people hate. Nobles avoid taxes. The church owns enormous wealth. Ordinary people pay for almost everything, and many of them can barely afford bread. Then the price of bread explodes. Within a few years, a monarchy that had ruled France for centuries will be torn apart. A king will be executed. A queen will be executed. Revolutionaries will turn on one another. And a movement launched in the name of liberty will become one of the bloodiest political experiments in history. This is the French Revolution, the moment France tried to destroy the old world and nearly destroyed itself. A country built on inequality. Before the revolution, French society is divided into three groups called estates. The first estate is the clergy, bishops, priests, and church officials. The second estate is the nobility, aristocrats with land, titles, privilege, and influence. And then there's the third estate. That means everyone else: farmers, laborers, merchants, lawyers, shopkeepers, doctors, craftsmen, the overwhelming majority of France. The system is brutally uneven. The first two estates enjoy major privileges, including lighter taxes. The third estate pays taxes, fees, rents, church tithes, and often labor obligations. France has wealth. But most of that wealth is locked behind privilege. And the government has another problem: debt. France has spent huge sums fighting wars, including helping the American colonies defeat Britain. The victory is humiliating for Britain, but financially disastrous for France. By the late 1780s, the state is drowning in debt. The government needs money, but the people with the most money are the people least willing to pay. So King Louis XVI makes a decision that will change history. He calls a national assembly that has not met for 175 years. In May 1789, representatives from all three estates gather at Versailles for the Estates General. The king expects a solution to France's financial crisis. Instead, he gets a political explosion. The third estate has more representatives than the clergy and nobility. But voting is organized by estate, not by person. That means the first and second estates can outvote the third estate 2-1 every single time. The third estate sees the trap immediately. They refuse to play along. On June 17th, they declare themselves the National Assembly. They are no longer just representatives of one class. They claim to represent the nation. A few days later, they find their meeting room locked. So they move to an indoor tennis court. There they swear an oath. They will not disband until France has a constitution. It is a stunning act of defiance. For the first time, royal authority is being openly challenged by representatives claiming power from the people. And outside Versailles, the streets are getting more dangerous. Paris is terrified. The king has moved troops near the city. People fear he is preparing to crush the National Assembly. At the same time, bread is scarce and expensive. Rumors spread faster than facts. Armed crowds begin searching for weapons. On July 14, 1789, thousands of Parisians march on the Bastille. The Bastille is a fortress prison. It holds only a handful of prisoners at the time. Militarily, it is not the most important target in France, but symbolically, it is perfect. The Bastille represents royal power, secret imprisonment, and fear. After hours of fighting, the fortress falls. The governor is captured and killed. His head is carried through the streets on a pike. The message is unmistakable. The people of Paris are no longer waiting for permission. The king has lost control of the capital, and the revolution now has a weapon: the crowd. The fall of the Bastille sends shockwaves across France. In the countryside, rumors spread that nobles are planning revenge. Peasants arm themselves, attack manor houses, and burn records of feudal obligations. This wave of panic becomes known as the Great Fear. In response, the National Assembly makes a historic decision. On the night of August 4, 1789, it abolishes many feudal privileges. The old system, the one that gave nobles special rights and forced peasants to carry ancient burdens, is being dismantled. Weeks later, the Assembly publishes the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. It declares that men are born free and equal in rights. It speaks of liberty, property, security, and resistance to oppression. These words will echo around the world, but there's a problem. France is still hungry. And people who are hungry do not wait patiently for political theory to become reality. In October 1789, Bread shortages push Paris to the edge. Thousands of women, many of them market workers, march from Paris to Versailles. They demand bread. They demand action. They demand that the king come back to Paris. The march becomes one of the most dramatic moments of the revolution. The crowd reaches the palace. Fighting breaks out. Guards are killed. By the end of the crisis, Louis XVI agrees to move from Versailles to Paris. The king is now living under the watch of the capital. He is still king, but he is no longer in charge. For a time, revolutionaries try to create a constitutional monarchy. The idea is simple. France will have a king, but his power will be limited by a constitution and elected representatives. But Louis XVI does not accept his reduced role. In June 1791, he and his family attempt to flee France. They are caught near the town of Varennes. The escape attempt is catastrophic. It convinces many people that the king cannot be trusted. He is not a prisoner trying to survive. He is a ruler trying to escape his own people. Then France goes to war. Revolutionary leaders believe war will unite the country and spread revolutionary ideals. European monarchies fear the revolution will spread across their borders. War begins in 1792, and as France faces foreign armies, paranoia explodes inside the country. Who is loyal? Who is plotting? Who is secretly working for the king? The revolution begins to eat itself. On August 10, 1792, revolutionaries storm the Tuileries Palace. The monarchy collapses. Louis XVI is imprisoned. A new government, the National Convention, abolishes the monarchy and declares France a republic. For the first time in French history, there is no king. The question remains, what do you do with the former king? The answer comes in January 1793. Louis XVI is put on trial for treason. He is found guilty. On January 21, 1793, Louis XVI is executed by guillotine. The execution shocks Europe. A king has not merely been defeated. He has been publicly killed by his own people. France is now at war with much of Europe, and inside France, the revolution is about to become far more radical. By 1793, France is surrounded by enemies. Foreign armies are attacking. Rebellions are breaking out. Food shortages continue. Political factions accuse one another of betrayal. In this atmosphere, a group called the Jacobins takes control. Their most famous leader is Maximilien Robespierre. Robespierre believes the Republic can survive only by destroying its enemies, and soon, enemy becomes a dangerously flexible word. The government creates revolutionary courts. Trials become fast. Evidence is thin. Defending yourself can be nearly impossible. The guillotine becomes the symbol of the revolution. Thousands are executed during the Reign of Terror. Nobles die. Priests die. Political rivals die. Ordinary citizens die. Even Queen Marie Antoinette is executed. The revolution, born from demands for liberty, is now governed by fear, and then Robespierre makes the mistake that destroys him. He begins threatening too many people, including fellow revolutionaries. By 1794, France is exhausted. The foreign threat is easing, but executions continue. Members of the government fear that they may be next. On July 27, 1794, Robespierre is arrested. The next day, he is executed by guillotine. The architect of the terror becomes one of its final victims. The Reign of Terror ends, but stability does not arrive. France enters a new period of political chaos, corruption, and weak government. And in that chaos, a young military commander begins to rise. His name is Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1799, Napoleon seizes power in a coup. The French Revolution, at least in its most chaotic form, is over, but its consequences are enormous. The old feudal order has been shattered. The idea that kings rule by divine right has been challenged. Citizenship, rights, nationalism, and popular sovereignty have become forces no European ruler can ignore. The revolution fails to create a stable democracy. It produces violence, dictatorship, war, and an emperor. It also proves something that cannot be undone. A government is not invincible simply because it has always existed. The French Revolution showed that ordinary people could overthrow a system built to last forever. And it showed how quickly a revolution can turn from liberation into terror. That is why the French Revolution still matters. It is not just a story about France. It is a warning and a promise about what happens when inequality, anger, fear, and hope collide. The French Revolution began with bread, debt, and a demand for representation. It ended with Napoleon. But between those two moments, the world changed. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more history stories where power collapses, empires rise, and one decision changes everything.